This is a moment of crossing over for us. Why? Because God has said so. He has said so prophetically. Because society has changed and will remain changed for a while, and some changes will be permanent. Because change is necessary, and the need for change has been building up for some time. Everyone is dealing with new kinds of problems. These affect our families, our work, our schools, our businesses, and our church. But there are always great solutions to be found where there are great problems. In fact, great solutions cannot be found without great problems. Thinking about one of the first Bible stories that I was taught, David and Goliath. Goliath was an opportunity for David. It was his greatest opportunity to date. To the majority, Goliath was a problem. To David, Goliath was an opportunity waiting to happen for him, even as a shepherd boy. This is a significant moment for the church and for our church. It's a time of loss, but it is also a great opportunity, perhaps the greatest opportunity in a generation. The revivalist preacher Leonard Ravenhill said, "The opportunity of a lifetime must be grasped within the lifetime of that opportunity." I think Ravenhill understood something about God being the Lord of kairos time, moments of time which cannot be measured with a chronometer such as a watch or clock. This, like the Roman poet Horace and later by Robin Williams in that classic film Dead Poets Society, is a carpe diem moment, a time to seize the day. In grasping this opportunity to cross over into what God wants us to be and then to do, we need to ask a big question. If the Northern Ireland Executive came out this week and said, "You know what? We've got it wrong. Coronavirus is not as transmittable as we first thought. Everyone can go back to normal." Would we go back to meeting on Sunday mornings in the same way at 11 a.m. as a group of 150 adults and about 3,000 children? Would we go back and meet in exactly the same way? We say not. At least we should think very seriously about it. What is in the best interest of us growing as a church that makes disciples of Jesus? That is the main question. Core Serve Team is a group made up of identified overseers and servants. See Philippians 1:1, the Apostle Paul wrote to the overseers, servants, and the saints. So when I say we, I am reflecting a conversation that is happening within Core Serve Team. The servants and Core Serve Team have been appointed on the basis that they are already serving in specific areas and they fulfill the character qualifications of 1 Timothy chapter 3. Core Serve Team, as the name was intended to suggest, is a team of people at the core that serves in all the essential areas of the church to create a place where everyone can serve in the mission of the church. And we've met frequently to make sure we are doing what we can to get us through this period of lockdown, but more importantly, to think about how we may reset at the other side in ways that are good for the whole church. We've done some brainstorming to make sure that ideas are generated beyond the obvious 3 or 4. So instead of coming up with 3 or 4 ideas, each team member was asked to come up with 15 ideas independently. This avoids groupthink, and surely when you accumulate 100 to 150 ideas, you might get an outlier that could be transformational. We now open up this conversation to the whole church. If you have an idea that would help us navigate through this period of lockdown, and much more importantly, help us to reset in the months ahead, then please share it. Any idea that enables us to connect up to God, into each other, and out toward those who are not yet disciples of Jesus, those who are pre-Christian, will be considered. The early assessment of what we at Core Serve Team have come up with is that we should and will broaden and deepen a culture of prayer. There is a difference between a church that prays and a praying church. No church will fulfill its purpose without becoming a praying church first and foremost. We also think that we should and will arrange groups and meetings in ways that enable life-on-life discipleship. When the primary focus is a 150-person meeting for 2 hours on a Sunday, that is not necessarily life-on-life discipleship. That is not good for life-on-life discipleship. It is not bad, but it is not enough. We also think that we should and will use technology a lot more and a lot more effectively. We understand that there are limits to the benefits of this digital world, but nevertheless, we should accept that we are in a digital world, if not of that digital world. We think that we should and will develop the Connect Centre as a place for mission, not just as a meeting place for the church. As soon as it is possible, we will be pursuing with the refurb of the other building. And we should and will celebrate together a whole lot more. I think that the biggest losses of this time of enforced sheltering is being able to sing together and to eat together. The ability to have sung worship and breaking of bread is a big loss, and one that we should lament and look forward to resuming as soon as possible. I reckon there are some who would really like to get back to chatting with someone less than 2 meters over a lukewarm cup of coffee in a paper cup as soon as possible. And other ways of eating and drinking together, I'm sure. So to help us celebrate a whole lot more together, watch out for concerts, barbecues, parties and picnics in the not too distant future. Again, if you have ideas, please share them. Core Serve Team exists to serve in ways that create a place for all to serve. Everything will be done to that end. Can I mention one example of servanthood? Jackie and Johnny McFerrin have spearheaded the delivery of meals to those who are either over 70 or living alone during this period of lockdown. 60 individual meals have been delivered every couple of weeks. Sorry if you were included when you thought you shouldn't be, or if you were omitted when you should have received a delivery of one of these scrumptious meals. In one way or another, a dozen people have been involved, and you know who you are. But can I commend Jackie for her servant hand? You get to know what is in someone's heart by what they do with that which is in their hand. So there's an opportunity to join Jackie in the future in this endeavour and similar endeavours. The criteria to qualify for such meals as we have been delivering may change as we emerge out of this enforced sheltering, but contact Jackie or one of us if you want to get in on this act of service. I've used the word servant or serve or serving a lot. In the New Testament texts, the word leader or lead, the words leader or lead are not used very often, but the words servant and serve are used frequently. A synonym of the idea of to serve is to wait upon. In a bygone era when we could eat in places called restaurants, there were waiters and waitresses who served tables. They waited upon us to serve us the food that we had requested. To serve is to wait upon. To serve the Lord is to wait upon the Lord. This is a very definite season for waiting upon the Lord and not to rush into doing things for the sake of it. Waiting upon the Lord will show up the difference between God ideas and good ideas. Waiting upon the Lord prepares us to be endued with power to get what He wants done. All spiritual renewal is preceded by times of waiting upon the Lord. Waiting upon God enables us to hear what He is saying and to hear what He is ordering. I believe that Jesus is saying in these days, let me in to be the host at my own table, the church. I believe that Jesus is saying, I will build my church where you are, when you are. Now come and join in. And I believe that Jesus is saying specifically to us at Connect Christian Fellowship, let us cross over to the other side, even though we may not know what the other side is going to look like.